the most proud of her, I think, to come back and actually sing tonight. I mean, well, in my gut, I felt like she was going to win, and she deserved all this. And frankly, when we did these songs and did the album, I've talked with Epworth and Dan and all the other producers. You know, nobody knew it was going to be what it was. Absolutely nobody. We just knew that we loved it. And someone at the record label 2 days ago said to me, said, you know the reason? This guy's been in the business for 30, 40 years. He's been part of the biggest albums ever. He said, if everybody's doing a project for the right reasons, those become the biggest projects. You're not motivated by money. You're not motivated by, you know, posturing. And I think that's why this thing connected. Everyone was in it literally for the right reason. So yeah, I couldn't be prouder of Adele. I know she was nervous about tonight, and I don't know, she's as real as it gets.
Hey Ryan, first of all, let me say I'm a big supporter of Kate.
Oh, thank you.
So you are a great melody maker. You know how to write a great hook, timeless hook. What is it that inspires you?
What inspires me? A lot of times I feed off the energy of the artist that's in the room. And a lot of times if it's just me coming up with something, you know, we're talking about Adele, so I'll use her as specifically. So we'll say like Turning Tables. You know, literally, I had watched Hometown Glory, which is my favorite. I've watched that video probably 50 times. Just, I don't know what it is about it. I get goosebumps every time I watch it. And she had the hit Chasing Pavement, sorry. So I was literally trying to picture her and like what kind of weird phrase, what kind of thing is going to resonate with her that's not a tip. You can't write a big pop song for Adele. It's a disservice. So I kept having the phrase Turning Tables and literally just picturing her voice. I don't know. Same thing with Beyonce, with Halo. You know, it was literally visualizing her in a music video. So I would say if I'm writing for somebody else, the inspiration, I literally visualize them in a music video. I'm picturing them singing it on a stage. And it's like whatever melody is going to give me goosebumps, that's kind of the thing I chase, the goosebump factor. And that's kind of all I know what to do. Yeah. That's tough to say. I don't want to. She sounded phenomenal. I mean, there was, you know, I haven't seen her enough live to say whether that was her at 100% or not, but it felt to me, put it this way, like the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I stood up, and to me it was a triumph. I mean, I don't think it could have gone better, like just the whole evening. And I got to say, the Grammys tonight, too, I've been to a bunch of Grammys, and I've lost plenty of Grammys. And tonight was phenomenal. My parents were here, so I was scared that, you know, every now and then they'll put on like some crazy sex act, craziness, debaucherous act, and you're just like, oh, dear Jesus, you know. And my mom's in the back. So it was actually really good Grammys, I thought. A lot of classy acts tonight, despite what happened last night, you know. Yeah.
What's your approach when you go work with an artist? How much of your time is just listening to them versus actually giving?
Probably the first 3 hours. I come from the Nashville School of Songwriting. That's where I learned to write. And I've, you know, been kicking around LA and New York for years. But Nashville, kind of everything starts with like, you know, the first session's just blown out because you sit down and you talk with somebody and before you know it, you know that their dog has cataracts and like you're talking about all kinds of stuff. But from that, the conversation is what comes the great song. So with Adele, specifically, it literally, she walked in the first day and I said, I have this idea. I had already had the idea for Turning Tables, and I pitched the idea to her, and she said, that's literally what I'm going through right now in my relationship. And then rumor has it, I was riffing on this Radiohead riff and this kind of like bluesy stomp thing, which is, I believe, her next single, actually. And we were talking about the same relationship. This was just a few weeks later, and she said, I'm so sick of hearing everybody spreading all this gossip about why we broke up or why this or who dumped who or why that. And the phrase, she was like, I mean, fuck, rumor has it that blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, let's just go with that. So, anyway. Yeah. Faith Hill's version of Come Home. Yeah, I loved it. It kind of came about. I didn't know that it was happening, so I know Faith, and I did a song for Faith Hill for a movie, and I met with her, and we talked about music for hours, and she played me tons of songs that she loved, and this is a big comeback, year for her. This is kind of the year that she wants to make it happen. So I found out literally randomly. We were doing a show in Missouri, and Tim McGraw was there, and I went up to Faith Hill's bus and knocked on the door, and we talked, and she said, I just sang the hell out of your song. And I said, literally, I was like, what song? She's like, Come Home. And I had to scratch my head. I did not know for like 2 seconds what she was talking about. She started singing the chorus. I was like, that's from One Republic. Like, I literally didn't piece it together. But I loved it. There's been a lot of flack. I know. I've heard it and seen it because it wasn't traditional country and it was somebody else's song. But I personally loved it. And, what's not to love about Faith Hill? To answer your question, what's next? I've got B.O.B.'s single coming out this week, his first single. B.O.B., Kanon, more Gavin DeGraw. Going in, well, there's a couple people I'm going into work with that I don't even want to say right now. But the coolest stuff I've been a part of will happen, other than Adele, will be happening this year for sure. Working on some new Beyonce stuff. And, of course, One Republic. Working on One Republic right now. So... yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I'm writing for that. And halfway through, we're working with Phoenix's producer, Philippe Zadar. Did some stuff with him, doing some stuff with Epworth. And just going to try and, for as much as touring takes a toll, for every day that I'm not in the studio with someone else, I feel like I need to really be justifying it. So for One Republic, we think, in our label and everybody involved in us think that this could be the album for us, like the huge breakout album. So we're going to give it everything.